Hello YouTube, it's Barbara Jean. I'm back making one more video. This one hopefully won't be too long. This one is about peace. I looked up the name or the word shalom. Shalom of course means peace. And peace, to be at peace with God, is to be reconciled with God. It's not what the world says peace is. Peace in the world's eyes is everyone getting along. Just like they want Israel to do. They want Israel to get along with everybody. Instead of, that's not God's way of peace. God's way of peace is everyone get along with God. Really, that's the only way to have peace, is when we all agree with God's law and God's way, and then we can all have peace. Man's way, Satan's way, is everybody does what they want and everyone just lets everyone do whatever they want to. And unfortunately, that doesn't produce peace, because if you do whatever you just want to do, you're stepping on everybody else's toes while you're doing it. So we don't really have peace. It only produces war when you want what somebody else wants or has, and you're stealing and lying and destroying other people's property just for your own pleasure, your own enjoyment. There's no peace in that. I wanted to talk about peace for a moment because I wanted to talk about the Song of Songs, the Song of Solomon. Solomon, I looked up the word Solomon. It was interesting that in the book of Kings, when it describes people's names, Solomon isn't mentioned as to what it means. Solomon is actually a derivative of the word peace. It comes from it's actually an alternative way of saying shalom. Solomon, shalom, that's where it comes from. So Song of Solomon is actually the song of peace. It's the song of the king. It's the song of the king of peace towards his bride. He is the king of peace. And the Song of Solomon is about the bride of Christ who is trying to find peace. She is running after her Lord. She's in love with him, but she's lazy. She doesn't want to work. She almost loses him. And then she has to face tribulation and all sorts of things and adventures to find her peace, the peace of the love of God in her life. The Lord told me to read the book of Song of Solomon a few weeks ago, about 4 weeks ago. I think he told me to read it, and as I read it, I didn't really know what he wanted me to see, except for one thing. He said he pointed out something that was a discrepancy, or at least it seemed to be a discrepancy. And so I read it, and he said, and I didn't really notice it before until he pointed it out to me. I'm going to first read 1 Kings chapter 11. This is about the earthly King Solomon. But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites, of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, You shall not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn away your hearts after their gods. Solomon claved unto these in love, and he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. Okay, now I want to read Song of Solomon, and I want to go to chapter 6. Is that where I want to go? Chapter 6? Maybe it's chapter 6. Okay. Starting at verse 8. This is the Song of Songs, or the Song of Solomon. This is actually an allegory of Christ and his bride, his church. The Song of Solomon is a very beautiful poem, of a book of poetry of God's love for his church and for his bride. I want to read starting at verse 8 of chapter 6. there are 60 queens, and 80 concubines, and virgins without number. My dove, my undefiled, is but one. She is the only one of her mother, she is the choice one of her that bare her. The daughters saw her and blessed her, yea, the queens and the concubines, and they praised her. I just wanted you to notice that there was a difference there. I don't know if you noticed the difference, but I didn't notice the difference until the Lord showed it to me. And that is, in the Song of Songs, there's a difference in the number of women that are involved in the king's life. The king of Israel, Solomon, who was the greatest king that Israel knew at that time and has known to this day, because they have not yet received Jesus Christ. He had quite a few women in his life. They were mostly Gentile women, and he was told not to be involved with them, but his heart clave to them. He had 700 wives, princesses, 700 of them, and 300 concubines. That's 1,000 women in his life. That's an awful lot of women. But the Song of Solomon, we see a different number here. We see a very different number. We see 80 queens and 80 concubines and virgins without number. And we also see, my dove, my undefiled, is but one. So there seems to be a discrepancy, because in the Song of Solomon, which we know is about the King of Kings, the King of Peace, there are 60 queens and 80 concubines and virgins without number. And there is one Shulamite. And one Shulamite. She is the only one who's described as the Shulamite. And I am just going to leave it at that. Just leave it at that for the moment, because I think that's enough for anybody to digest. I still have more to say, and it has to be done today, because the Lord told me it had to be, or I was going to be in danger of losing my position, and I don't want to do that. I've worked too hard for this. It's been a long, difficult road. I'm going to explain in my next video a couple of dreams that the Lord gave me, and one I didn't tell you about that I had recently last week. And it was a shocking dream, very, very shocking. And but it has to be said. These are videos I didn't want to do. I've been trying to avoid doing these videos for the last 2 years, but I guess it's at the point where the Lord is saying now or never. So I'll see you in my next video. God bless.